fact it's going to be fun. And we're live. Fantastic.
Of course it's Ryan speaking first as we're live. I wanted to see if that was going to happen, and it did. I love it. What up, family? It's your boy Amaru back with another review. A lot of people have asked, including one person 2 spaces over to my left. My name's pronounced Amaru. Nobody had the head. People have been asking me, so just to make it clear, you roll the R. Amaru, but Amaru is fine. Amaru is fine. Ru is good. All that's good. But anyway, we're back with another episode of One Gotta Stay here, speaking on 4 out of the 5 best fandoms, franchises that have been put on screen. There's notably one that's not here, but I feel like everybody would pick the MCU if it was on here. So it's not a choice. The choices we do have are, come on. Yeah, there we go. We have Star Wars, all 12 Star Wars films. So the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, Solo, Rogue One, which is the best Star Wars film, but anyway, and the Clone Wars. We are not including television, because not all of these franchises have television shows. So just to keep it fair, even though I usually say everything, not television, just the franchises. Then we got Wizarding World, which includes Harry Potter and, yes, unfortunately, Fantastic Beasts. Middle Earth, which is Lord of the Rings, and no Manny, we couldn't keep Hobbit out of this, so you also have to deal with the Hobbit. And then we have X-Men, which are all the X-Men movies, all the Wolverine movies, including Logan, and that other Origins thing. The first time we saw the Merc without a mouth. And then also the Merc with a mouth movies, the Deadpool movies as well. So all these franchises have classics. All these franchises have not classics. So we got some conversations today. And joining me, again, first, is the man who is never short of conversation himself. The quote, Ryan Ferguson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on this show. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what everybody's picks are. So this ought to be good.
No, Pixar's not here.
No, I didn't say Pixar. I said picks. Okay, I'm trying to.
Oh man, I got to rework my list now. We got Pixar.
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone's list is. So let's just keep it that way. Let's see where this goes. Anyway, who else is on this panel with us?
Well, it's my boy. You're my boy, Doug. What's going on?
The one who can't pronounce your name correct. I'm gonna go with the last option always from now on because it's the safest option. I'm white, so we're just gonna say that.
All right.
But anyway, no, I'm excited to be here. I do think the internet will be set ablaze and will burn the world down. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen.
All right, cool. I usually introduce people who haven't been on here last, so sorry you're gonna get skipped for a second. Joe, you haven't been here since the first episode. Brand new background, brand new everything. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Rube. I am doing very good. I'm happy to be here. I like talking about this stuff. I like these franchises. I'm looking forward to this. There's gonna be some. I'm sure there'll be some controversy. I'm sure there'll be some opinions that are just wrong, but we'll see.
All right, and midnight is not going to cloud your judgment, right? I mean,
no. So I was up until 3 with the TV fights, title defense last night. I was on a night shift the night before, so it's kind of a normal time for me at the moment.
Well, then there you go. And now on to the newbies. Have not been on here before. Both of them have asked, and I'm glad to get them on. I'll start back over to the man I skipped. Robert, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I wanted to do the one about rap groups where I literally did research for like 3 days because I took it so seriously, but I couldn't get on that one. So that stinks. But I'm here now, and some people say fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. So that'll probably be the internet and all of us here at some point today.
Some of us do. Quick, give us your list. Rap groups, not this one.
Oh, I was trying to remember what it was. Outkast was 1. That's all I remember that. And the Roots were last. Wu-Tang and then Tribe Called Quest. Yep. That
not bad. List. It hurts any order you put it. But anyway,
it does.
Last but not least, Mr. Chris Diaz. Good to have you on. How are you doing today, sir? Ready to go?
I am ready to go. Ready for some hot take, some back and forth. but I had Harry Potter thing up to no good, and I want to end it on mission managed, but nobody dying.
Alrighty then. All right. So, to get this started, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go over my number 4 pick. And when I put these lists together, I strategically think of them. This is why I left MTU off, because I feel like it's really easy. I try to make it hard. But even if this was hard, this was simple to do. Number 4 is a franchise it's not bad, but I can give 2 craps about, really. I mean, if the sequel trilogy is the best out of all of the trilogies, Star Wars has to go. Star Wars is gone. Just Star Wars is gone. Utterly and completely gone. Look, I've watched the original trilogy twice, only because I've had to study. And they are not bad. They are actually fairly good. They're actually fairly
happy
good.
right now.
I don't really need to watch them again.
Neither is Robert. He's wearing the swag.
Yeah. Look, they're like the Beatles, man.
I guess.
Abbey Road.
I guess the prequel trilogy is who.
It's bad.
Ooh, bad. Though I actually find some enjoyment in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith. Phantom Menace.
Ouch.
Phantom Menace can go.
Oh, enjoyment in Phantom Menace.
Yikes.
I have learned better. The first time I saw Rise of Skywalker, I thought it was pretty daggone great, and then I watched it again, and I knew I was wrong. Last Jedi is great. As is The Force Awakens. But the only thing I am mad about losing is Rogue One, because Rogue One is beautiful in all aspects, in all ways. It is actually entertaining, but I can lose that movie. Star Wars does not even hold a candle to any of these other franchises. Period.
Jeez.
I'm so sad in my
There goes
soul.
the comments section.
Yeah, it's so.
Is anybody agreeing with me on this? Does anybody else have Star Wars left?
You were right, Doug. The world's gonna burn, and it just did. In the first 2 minutes of this show, it just did.
And he's the one who hosts the show.
I guess not.
Never gonna make that.
I guess not.
No.
Thanks a lot, Doug.
So you all feel like I'm wrong. I feel like I'm right. Though I'm by myself here.
I don't think you're terribly wrong. We'll find out later. But no, I mean, I definitely don't think the sequel trilogy is better than the original trilogy at all. I think I do enjoy parts of the sequel trilogy. I don't think any of them are really great films. And the prequels can go sit on a toilet with themselves.
Look, I will say Empire is better than all of them. All three of them. Like without even the question.
That is an objective.
But Force Awakens and Last Jedi is either as good as A New Hope, if not better, or if anything more enjoyable than it. And just all these Star Wars fans having their foundations in a trilogy that's kind of boring, just a little.
Oh my god.
Only a little.
Yeah.
And again, all these franchises are great. They are all great. So this is not a horrible franchise. It's just was very easy for me to get rid of this, because if I never see any of them again outside of Alan Tudyk's greatness in Rogue One, I don't need to watch that. I went 31 years of my life without seeing the original trilogy. I'm good.
I feel so bad in my life.
Why.
So that's me. Go ahead, Chris.
So you're saying that Star Wars people get like outside the movie? I'm saying like the Mandalorian people get Rebels, some of the better TV shows.
So not including TV shows here. Not including TV shows.
Yeah.
This is the only one we're not including TV shows because Wizarding World and Middle Earth don't have TV shows.
Theatrically
I'm trying to
released
keep
films only.
I usually say you got to get rid of those. Somebody asked me, and I said, well, X-Men and Star Wars have TV shows. Wizarding World and Middle Earth don't.
Middle Earth doesn't yet.
Doesn't yet.
It's about to.
And It's my show, so I get to make the decision. So my decision, TV stays.
Nice one,
This
Alex.
is all franchises. But
Love you, Alex.
I said what I said. I will keep with what I said.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just move on. Star Wars. You will
I-
not stop looking horrified. Star Wars is gone. This is the first episode that I do not know the picks. So I am ready for this.
This whole thing is a mystery.
Shockers.
Yes. This is why I've been asking y'all to send me an email because somebody else is helping me out.
Yeah.
Hi,
Third party
Robert.
is helping you.
Robert. What is your number 4?
So when I think about movies and movie franchises that mean a lot to me, there's a difference between the formative years when I was growing up, when things mean a lot to me, and then what it's been like as an adult. My number 4 pick, I would actually say, since I've been an adult, has the most movies I've liked. But my nostalgia takes over, like Galactus. We're not doing Marvel MCU, I'm just saying, takes over, and as a result, I have to strike from the record first X-Men in its entirety.
Woo! Woo!
Wow.
Yeah, I have to strike it in its entirety. There are a lot of really bad X-Men movies. X-Men movies I don't like to revisit at all. Nah, 3, 4, you can make a determination.
3. There are
Three.
3 genuinely bad X-Men movies out of 12.
And there are X-Men movies that, even though they're on TV and I've seen them a bunch, I don't feel the same need to go back and revisit them because I know them. And as Ru said in relation to Star Wars, I just really look at them for the sake of studying. And nobody puts in the light the things that you do for studying purposes, no matter how much you liked it. If you just think about it from a studying perspective, you don't really like it as much. So X-Men...
Yeah, I finally watched Star Wars because I had to study. Star Trek, not Star Wars. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
So,
yeah, I exactly feel the same way. Which I was going to mention to you, Ru. Some people would say Star Trek is the other one that should be on here. The 6th one that should be on
Trek
here.
was on there, I would have had a lot of a harder time with this
Okay.
list.
But
See,
we're not talking about.
I didn't know. I was thinking of it, but I just know so many more people who don't care for Star Trek as much. I just know the Star Trek people who are fans are huge fans.
Yeah,
But
the
I don't know
fandom is
many who
huge.
are. So,
But I understand. But in my estimation, I saw the X-Men movies in theaters and all this stuff, and it's picking your kids. You don't want to have to get rid of them, but you got to shove some out of the cave and let them, I don't know, die of exposure. I don't know what you want to say.
Jeez.
But
I guess.
That's visceral.
Yeah.
right
I
there.
would say that's Darwinism.
yeah, I believe
Basically.
fully in Darwinism.
I mean,
That's the word.
what we
Or-
have seen in the USA, Darwinism is.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm going to move on from that. Who else has X-Men as last?
Oh,
Yo!
Well, then there you go.
Whoa!
I'm not alone.
It's because,
Now
Robert,
I
you're not
feel
alone.
no.
Robert, you're not alone, Robert, because you're correct.
Yay, I'm correct.
Yeah.
Look, when it came to picking these, I had to look at what movies I would want to keep. And when it came to the X-Men franchise, I only want to keep Logan. Really?
wow.
I enjoy Days of Future Past. I enjoy Deadpool. But if I'm going to really pick what I call a fantastic movie, it's Logan. And then Deadpool. And then the rest. Look, X-Men and X-Men 2 are really good. They are really good. But I'm talking about which ones, compared to how many movies from each franchise I want to keep. Really, compared to the others, I mean. Do I really want to keep, say, X-Men 2 over Two Towers? Mm-mm. Do I want to keep Logan over Two Towers? Oh, I've got to think about that one because Logan is a masterpiece. It is
Really is.
fantastic.
Pretty good movie.
But what am I
It's really
going to go back and rewatch from the X-Men franchise when I'm not studying? I'm going to rewatch Deadpool. I'm going to rewatch Logan. I might rewatch Days of Future Past.
Mm.
I'm about to rewatch that after I get off of here. So,
But
Disney Plus, baby.
yeah.
Chris,
Why do you have X-Men as your number 4 pick?
Because when we're looking at which one had some of the worst stuff that pissed me off, yeah, when you look at X-Men with Dark Phoenix last year, one of the first movies last year, Apocalypse, X-Men Origin, X-Men 3. I know some people like, but I don't like X-Men 3 that much. The Wolverine have got off the last half hour of the movie, and then it's just like it built up, and it's just like, and I love X-Men. I love X-Men 1 and 2. I love First Class. I love Days of Future Past. I love Logan. Like, but the bad.
Look at that! Look at that opinion.
That is, I'm sorry, Coach. You are kind of incorrect there.
But the bad are bad. Some of the worst X-Men movies are some of the worst comic book adaptations. Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse should never be watched, and they are.
I enjoyed Apocalypse.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed certain aspects of Apocalypse.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed.
I don't think it's as terrible as some
people
make it out to be. It's got its moments.
X-Men Origin should be wiped off the record.
I agree with you on that sense. It's a part of my bottom 3, but let's be honest. We'll talk about X-Men later.
Yeah.
Doug is like having a like.
And don't get me wrong. It's like picking your favorite children. I loved all of the other X-Men movies, and I don't like X-Men 3 that much. And much a lot of people do.
It's picking my childhood.
I know.
My childhood.
3 of us have put X-Men last,
and I like Deadpool.
Here in the UK, it's Patrick Stewart.
I like Deadpool. I like both Deadpool movies, but the bad are really bad. Like they just like Dark Phoenix made me so mad that watching it would like it the whole time, that wanting to punch the screen.
And Doug, we get to keep X-Men the '90s show out of this.
I know, which I'm excited for at least. And we don't get to keep the comics stuff.
I'm gonna talk about the TV show. That would be a different conversation. We try to do like the animated, and I like Legion. Like Legion was just a show.
Yeah, there is a lot. I didn't even think about Legion. That is a pretty great. Luckily, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the movie. So since we're talking about distant movies, we're gonna move on. The quote. What is your fourth pick out of all of these? Which, with thinking about what's left, you're wrong. But go ahead with your wrong idea, Red.
2 left.
Yeah, there's not much to choose from now, is there? Look, some parts of this list were easy for me. Another part of this list was a little difficult. This is the easy part because really I didn't have to think about this for more than 2 milliseconds. What is it called? The Wizarding World is gone. It's history.
What's up?
It's history.
Y'all broke my heart.
No.
He left. He dropped the mic.
No. Obliterate. I guess I have to. Never mind. I'm sorry. Go, family.
Jeez, man, so touchy with these comments. Jeez, did you not expect there to be hot takes coming from this guy who invented those 2 words? Come on, man. Look, the Wizarding World is dead as a doornail. Why? Because I watched all the movies. I enjoyed 3 out of the 8 or 7 of them, of the main ones.
Oh my gosh.
I never bothered to see Fantastic Beasts because I have no interest in prequels. I just don't care.
Oh, I give you a quick spoiler. This is how Johnny Depp predicts the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Joe is totally right.
Here's the thing. Maybe it's because I never read any of the books when I was a youngling that maybe my opinion would be different on this. But I watch these movies and I'm like, okay, they're fun, they're fine, but they don't leave a huge impression on me. Yeah, there you go. See, I just don't care. Like, I can go the rest of my life without seeing these movies ever again, despite me enjoying 3 out of the 8 of them. So, yeah, Wizarding World, no-brainer. It's gone. It's history. Those actors moved on to greener pastures anyway. So, yeah, Wizarding World.
Not Rupert Grint. Not Rupert Grint. Not Rupert Grint.
No, he's got his own show. He's fine. He'll make a few $1,000. He's fine. But yeah, Wizarding World is a no-brainer for me, man. It just doesn't matter to me. It doesn't leave an impression on me. I don't think about it ever when it comes to fandom or inner geekdom. I don't care for it. I don't even think about it. I could care less about a boy and his friends with a little wand. I don't care. Sorry, Wizarding World, you're gone.
Fandom players.
That's a lot of kids' experiences.
Pay attention.
Pay a lot of attention.
Ryan, Wizarding World. No, I also had Wizarding World.
Oh
the
gosh.
reason that I had Wizarding World is
So sad, this panel right now.
those last 2 movies really ruined the series for me. Those last 2 movies really ruined the series. You can say what you want. Those are the 2 worst pieces of shit in cinema history I've ever seen. You ruin your entire narrative.
Oh.
You ruined your entire narrative with 2 films. and you want 5 more.
Tweet.
Three more.
Just
Sorry,
right.
3 more. 3 more. You want a 5?
I think they want 5.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Quick question.
Maybe give it number 2, but number 1 wasn't that bad of Fantastic Beasts.
It's not.
Bad.
It's not
bad.
really that terrible.
Did you read the books?
Did I read the books? Yes, I read every book. I had every book pre-ordered.
I don't understand.
We're not talking about books. We're not talking about books.
Yeah.
There's books on the table.
The reason I'm asking is because what I've seen with the Fantastic Beasts is that most people who don't know about it's weirdly split. Most people who don't know about Wizarding World lore can follow along a little better and get it a little more, or absolutely hate it. And those who don't know it are like, this is way too much information. I don't know what's going on. This is why I hate it. Number 1's not that bad. Number 2 is
It's really good.
Okay, so number 1's it's okay, but number 2 really destroys your entire lore. Everything. It's everything. You gave Dumbledore an extra fucking sibling for no reason. Why?
I'm annoyed. I have my own thoughts about that.
Compared to Palpatine and the clone and Rise of Skywalker.
Thank you, Chris.
Chris also makes a good point.
So when we get to my number 3, I'll explain that. But no, Wizarding World, I get the frustration, but let's be honest, guys. When you ruin your entire lore and you are the author of the story, it's your own fault that you destroyed your entire story.
Damn it.
What does he say? I can't remember
reply.
what it's about, but I've seen it so many times.
All people don't know about
I mean, I gotta be honest. Like this franchise, this fandom, I don't understand it. I don't get it. That's why it's like another reason. I just don't get it. This franchise, to me, is to a certain extent, it's way overblown and way overrated. But that's just me. So Wizarding World for me was a no-brainer to kick out of the door first thing. So easy for me to kick it.
Now,
Okay, all right.
compare. Saying that the
Overrated.
the prequel is worse than Star Wars prequel.
But thank you, Doug, for agreeing with me, and you're on my side with this argument.
Yes.
Let's just poop all
Fantastic
over the
Beasts are worse than Hobbit movies and worse than Star Wars prequels.
Yes.
I will agree with that. Yes.
I fit somewhere in between there.
I'm gonna get to that later. So let's just go with this. We've already Middle Earth right now has survived. I got rid of Star Wars because just because Star Wars doesn't need to be here. Chris, Joe, and Robert got rid of X-Men, and Doug and Ryan did what they did. And Doug has been mincing it again and again. So let's just go with it, Doug. Doug, what is your number 3 pick? What is going?
My number 3 is Star Wars.
Doug and I can't hang out wherever.
The original trilogy is my favorite, second favorite trilogy of all time. But maybe third because I really like the new Apes trilogy a lot. Matt Reeves is a genius. He closed out a perfect trilogy. Shush. Star Wars.
I like that.
He's got a point.
Star Wars, though, for me, it's the fandom that I'm getting rid of. I'm getting rid of not just the movie. I'm getting rid of the fandom. No, you can't say, you made 2 actresses completely get off social media. You made another actor never want to do a fandom film. You made John Boyega just blow up on Twitter at people.
That's fair.
That's my indie right there.
And it's like, I would love that. Like, not even joking, John Boyega as like James Bond or Indy, give me it all day. I love him.
Indiana Jones, Ru.
Yes.
Sounds like you guys talked about this before.
But it's going to be Jake
If
Gyllenhaal.
we're being honest, I think on this list, if we're looking at it, I got rid of Harry Potter because I think you destroyed the storyline with the prequels. I'm getting rid of Star Wars because that fandom is the most toxic fandom. There's people that don't watch the films anymore because of how toxicity of this fandom.
Joe's incredible. He's like the best version of the Brady Kids.
The movies are.
If we get rid of those movies, we get rid of the fandom debate.
Still have TV.
Every other
I
stuff.
guess.
No.
Mandalorian, if we're going to go with that route, Mandalorian has been the most loved TV series by the Star Wars fan community ever. So that's how
But people will still complain.
They complain, but they're not like actually viciously attacking people. Thank you for the word I was looking for. I think if we get rid of the movies, we get rid of that toxicity fandom. It'll move to somewhere else, probably the MCU, but at least we're safe right now.
You can't get rid of it. You can only hope to contain it.
True, just like a pandemic.
Oh, God.
I guess that's just the theme we'll be coming back to all the time.
Yes. Does anybody else agree with Doug? Did anybody else have Star Wars as their number 3?
Nope.
Hey, Doug,
Can't shake my head fast enough.
boy, Doug. There you go. So we're gonna move on. I hope I got this the next person right, but it doesn't matter. Everybody's gonna go anyway. So we're gonna go with Chris. Chris, what did you pick as your number 3?
Okay, so this may be a hot take. I love the original movie, but the prequel are not that good. The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, like the Hobbit movie are not that good. Try to defend Battle of the Five Army and tell me a lot of the stupidity, the outfit thing, the Legolas video game moment in Battle of the Five Army.
Legolas has always been a video game.
Yeah. I played them a lot, those video
He's
games.
always been a video game.
Did.
But
He was the character on the video game.
Love the original trilogy, and we talked about the original version. Like if we were talking outside, I would put the extended edition better than the original version of the Lord of the Rings movie. Like especially Return of the King extended edition, much better movie than the regular version. But we talk about like the Hobbit movie is not that good. I mean, yes, they have a moment of like, Martin Freeman is great. I will give it that. He was a great Bilbo. But the stuff that amount to the stupidity and like the stuff that they add, oh god! Like I just wanted to. I rewatched Battle of the Five Army a couple months ago and just did not hold up well.
Sorry.
And the first Hobbit is okay at best. Like had good moment here and there. Just like the Goblin King chant that all I say is one of the worst. Like I just like when they go visual effect and practical and costume, it just like go downhill from there.
Chris, before I go in on you, did anybody else agree with him and put Middle Earth at number 3?
I did.
Oh man,
Robert, you were doing so well.
we were. Go ahead.
For me, you
Go
want to
ahead.
go?
Both of y'all, either of y'all. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Go ahead.
For me, it's a math equation, and like Chris sort of delineated out, the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies are fantastic, and the Hobbit movies are he is really hurting Lewis over there.
He's always going to be hurting, guys.
I'm probably never going to come back to this from this point.
Probably.
And the Hobbit movies are movies I never want to see again. It's another one of those things about studying, and I don't ever want to find a reason to revisit them. I read the books. I prefer the books. It's one of those things like we'll get to with another franchise that was disparaged a little while ago. If we get rid of the movies, we still have the books. So we can we can make up ground for that. I do feel really bad. My wife and I just watched The Lord of the Rings, a couple weeks ago, and we really enjoyed it. And I always really enjoy it, but I can't see myself under threat of death, sodium pentothal, torture to watch The Hobbit again. Any of the Hobbit movies.
So you're telling me you would rather watch Fantastic Beasts: The Climb to Grindelwald than the whole of the Hobbit trilogy?
There are parts of that I would rather watch than parts of The Hobbit.
I would listen to Martin Freeman read from the goddamn phone book.
He's one of the only good scenes about the Hobbit trilogy besides
And Ian McKellen.
I got a couple. I'll just let y'all go. I got a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a math.
Martin Freeman's been a treasure since his very small role in Ali G in the House. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in that.
Oh yeah, no, that was like that was his first film role.
If you want to see Martin Freeman surprised, you watch that movie.
Yikes. Wow. Yeah. What's it called?
No.
Middle Earth is definitely on the brink of destruction because it's my 3rd pick. Why, do you ask? Here's the thing. I did a rewatch of the trilogy, right? Lord of the Rings. Good movies. Fellowship of the Ring to me is my favorite of the trilogy, respectively. Okay, Fellowship is a great fantasy.
That's a little much. I would do
no
that.
question. There you go.
I don't desecrate things.
Here's the thing. I've watched of the Hobbit trilogy. I've watched the first one, and I was bored to tears. It is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my life. My
You also
entire
were bored by
life.
Wizarding World, so I mean,
boring. To
what
the
do we
point where
expect?
I had no interest in seeing Desolation of some dude named Smaug or Smoog. And then
Smaug.
Battle of 4.5 Armies, whatever it's called. I don't care. I don't care. I have no desire to see those movies ever again. Lord of the Rings, I'm okay watching the trilogy, sure, but I don't see myself rewatching those films as I do with certain other films and other franchises. So Lord of the Rings, one ring to rule them all? I don't think so. You're gone. You're history. You're out the door. I love Fellowship of the Ring, but man, not as rewatchable as other films. So inner geekdom, fandom, don't really care for Middle Earth. You guys can live in the Shire all you want, but for me, I got other plans.
My only
Second category to pick against Ryan.
trilogy.
Joe looks like that guy in Clerks 2 who vomits when they make fun of the Lord of the Rings so much, and we're not even making fun of those movies. So
Eventually, just Mark give it to like Benedict Cumberbatch give a really good performance. Mark, that is like one of the only redeemable thing about the Hobbit trilogy.
I mean, I like Luke Evans.
I was going to go to that.
Yeah,
I like Luke
and
Evans.
I like Luke Evans.
and Rich Armitage did a great job about, but everything else, just oh god, it's like. I would love to see you guys defend Alfred. I really would love to see you guys defend Alfred because that
He's
army.
He is a villain, though. He's a villain.
Screamer Wormtongue 2.0.
But annoying.
He's Wormtongue 2.0.
I don't need a 2.0. It's fine. He was good enough.
Yeah.
Look, we have you mentioned it. You have Smaug. Benedict Cumberbatch is a damn treasure, just like Martin Freeman is. The Unexpected Journey is a good movie. Plain and simple.
Okay.
The Unexpected Journey is a good movie, and I
Boring.
I see why people don't like it, but I enjoy the desolation of Smaug, and I enjoy the fights in Battle of the Five Armies. The entire barrel roll down the river, that scene alone, I can watch again and again and again. It's taking what Legolas does and the amount of fun you have with him, and do it with 12 dwarves in barrels down a river. Damn, it is. But that is the only bad movies that people claim are bad that I don't understand.
Okay,
I do not understand. It is the best of the worst bad movies in this list.
So, Amaru, I have one question. They ruined Legolas from the other movie. They made him the total douchebag in the Hobbit trilogy. And,
pause.
We're still talking about Middle Earth? What is going on?
Yeah, Ryan. It's never going to stop.
Question.
What is up with this fandom?
Have you ever read the books? Because Legolas is a douchebag before he joins the Fellowship.
Yeah.
Complete douchebag. Second, okay, you want to say these are bad movies. The only reason that they're bad is because of the filler that they have. They're not bad. The only reason that people complain is because they added stuff. The reason it's added is because Peter Jackson took this role.
I agree with Garth.
Peter Jackson took this over instead from Guillermo del Toro and had so little time. So people complain about the CGI because it's not practical how the Lord of the Rings were, and they complain that it's too much story stuffed in.
Yeah. Doug, Ryan is right. We are going a little bit too much into defending it. We're not defending it.
Way too much fandom.
Too much. So we're gonna pause on that just for a little bit. Joe, what's your number 3? What is your number?
I'm going to obliviate the Wizarding World for my number 3.
I hate you so much.
Because, look, I'm British, and Harry Potter is an institution. I've been to the studios. I've done the tour of Warner Brothers Studios over here. I love Prisoner of Azkaban. In fact, I really enjoy watching the first 3 a lot. Because I was that age when they were that age. So every time I've seen a movie, I've basically been the same age
as Daniel Radcliffe.
Fantastic Beasts are awful. I do not enjoy them. I think Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1 is a lot of filler. It's a lot of filler to get to the second one.
I mean, probably should have just been one movie.
And studio said no.
Yeah, they wanted to milk that cash cow, and they did.
They want
and
cash
continue.
money, Rob.
As much as I enjoy the story they tell, I am a much bigger fan of looking at that world and seeing the excitement through it that they have in the first 4 movies. I still like 5, 6, and 8, but when they get darker, sorry to say it, but it loses a bit of that magic.
But that's the whole point of the book.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this. I'm not denying that's the whole point. But just for me, that's why that point doesn't work. I get that's the point of it, but for me, I don't enjoy it as much. I still see why the movie's good, and I enjoy the story itself. But I just enjoyed it more when it was new and magical, literally new and magical. And that's just, and also compared to the other 2 that I still have on my list. Again, I would, if what certain other movies are on, and I said when a Harry Potter movie is on, I'm going with some of the other movies.
Okay.
Are you going to have a Prisoner of Azkaban?
Ru, do you need a hug?
Oh, I might.
You look like you're struggling over
Okay,
there.
I might have
I'll give you a virtual one if you
we
want one.
We are appropriating. Great performance for Alan Rickman. Great performance for Val Fine. Hellebuck and Carter.
You mean Dr. Lazarus?
Yeah.
all of them.
Like,
We're
His
gonna
name isn't Steve, it's Dr. Lazarus.
I promise
Like,
you, we're
even
gonna get to all of
Fantastic
this.
Beasts, like Colin Farrell, was a really good villain in the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, he was.
Dan Fogler had a great character in Fantastic Beasts. Fantastic Beasts 2, they mashed him up. But his sacrifice moment is like really beautiful moment in the Fantastic Beasts. When he
I agree. I agree with all those points. It's just
and like Julian, like I might be like to clap on the Fantastic one. Julian was really good Dumbledore given what he had to be given with the second.
Jude Law, yeah.
Jude Law, yeah.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite from that franchise. But if my favorite from Middle Earth or my favorite from Star Wars is on, I'm not watching Harry Potter.
All right.
It's a fair point.
I guess.
Always.
Joe, the last thing I will say about it is that you asked me about watching Fantastic Beasts versus The Hobbit. I do enjoy mouthing Crimes of Grindelwald and what I can enjoy from the bad stuff of Grindelwald as opposed to the boringness of The Hobbit. So that's how I look at it.
Oh, I'm throwing it out the window like Grindelwald throws Antonio.
All right.
I studied it too.
Did anybody? I don't know. Did anybody else have Wizarding World 3rd?
No.
Did I ask that already? Okay.
All
right.
No.
So then we're left with me. Well, maybe not left with me, but it's on to me now. We've talked about all of them, so I'm rounding it up. X-Men's got to go.
Yeah.
X-Men's got to go.
That's fair.
X-Men is
Yeah.
third.
Totally
X-Men is
fine.
third. X-Men is third. Look, Wizarding World and Middle Earth are if we're not talking MCU, it's the 2 best franchises. I love X-Men 1. I think X2 is the best out of the entire series, strictly off of rewatchability only. Only because of rewatchability. If we don't talk about rewatchability, Logan is hands down. It is the best movie. It is the absolute best movie. I love X2 because Brian Cox kills that role. He is the best villain in the entirety of the X-Men universe. Period. Days of Future Past is amazing. Deadpool 1 is a revelation. It is beautiful. That's it. That's it. I'm trying to think of this. Okay, First Class. First Class is great as well. First Class is great as well, but I forget about First Class, but it is great. I absolutely love X2, and that is killing. I've seen Logan twice maybe because it's hard to get through, but it is a masterpiece, which sucks. Now, if we were going everything that is a visual medium, because when it comes to if we were, man, that would have stretched it so all the way up if we compared comics to books. I just thought of that. I might have switched up a lot of things, but it's too late for that now.
It's a talk about Wolverine and Harry Potter all day.
If you would get rid of all the X-Men comics and get rid of the Deadpool comics compared to the Harry Potter books and Lord of the Rings books, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to leave that alone. But if the X-Men animated series was gone, it would have been a lot closer.
Disney Plus would lose 30% of its subscribers.
The best theme song of all time. All time.
And the only adaptation to actually nail the Phoenix Saga.
I will say this.
Yeah, I will give you that.
No.
Did anybody else agree with me with X-Men 3rd?
Yeah, I will say that. Deadpool 2 had the best mid-credit scene of all time with that when he kill off X-Men Origin and then kill Ryan Reynolds. So funny. Like
That is the only thing you can say about Deadpool 2 without looking at it like a disappointment.
Oh,
Apart
stop.
from the
not
fact
that
right
bad.
now-
That's a
There
little
are some
much.
good laughs.
It's a little much.
That's a lot.
X-Force is
Deadpool 2
fantastic.
I
They
know.
Deadpool 2 is kind
I
of
do-
fantastic, but it
Fat Pig
suffers the
cameo
same.
was hysterical. So.
It suffers the same thing of Guardians 2. It's a good movie.
Oh.
They try too hard, and it's just like, fam, enough.
It's
That's even
That-
closer.
That
That's
argument for
They're not
another
gonna-
day.
I feel like someone wants to throw in the quote, "You shut your goddamn trash mouth."
Oh,
Enough this
I know.
you just threw it in, Joe. You did it. So
No,
thank
I,
you.
'cause I kind of agree. So
No, I agree as well.
so with that, our last two for everybody, I am with Middle Earth and Wizarding World. Chris, and
Whoa,
Robert.
Robert's last?
Chris and Robert. This is not last. This isn't the order. This is what you got left.
Yeah.
Chris and Robert both have Wizarding World and Star Wars together.
Yes.
Joe has Middle Earth and Star Wars. I said Middle Earth last time. I meant Wizarding World. Doug has X-Men and Middle Earth, and Ryan has X-Men and Star Wars. So with that, we're going to get into the numbers of who picked what. Okay. Who picked what? How many people picked each? So one person is keeping X-Men. One person is keeping Middle Earth. Two people. That's 7.
Yay! Math
This is
failed
a
us.
Hey, it's okay. It's
the
okay.
numbers are a little off.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But we're gonna go with what I want to do is who picks X-Men to stay? Did anybody pick X-Men to stay? All right, Ryan. You go right on
the
ahead.
island. Yay.
You're on the island. What you get to go by yourself. Why did you pick X-Men to stay?
I agree with what Josh said, by the way, in the comments.
You know, I looked at all these movies of all these franchises and I thought to myself, which ones do I enjoy for certain reasons? Which ones can I relate to more so? Relatability to certain characters in movies is a big thing for me. Big thing. And as much as I love Star Wars, as much as I saw a certain film in that franchise a gajillion times in theaters, thanks for that, JJ. X-Men, the first film itself, this is a fun fact for the millions of people who are watching this at home right now. The first X-Men movie turns 20 tomorrow. That's a big deal. That is one of the most influential comic book movies ever made in history. I rewatched that film. We did a live watch along last night. I rewatched it again today, and I'm thinking, man, this movie 20 years later still holds up. It's so relatable. It's so relevant to everything that's going on, a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. And I can relate to these characters on so many different levels. So, and I enjoy maybe one more film slightly in this franchise more so than Star Wars. So I enjoy a little bit more of the X-Men universe, a little bit more so than the Star Wars universe. So that's another reason. I'm going with X-Men. I love these characters. I grew up on the animated series like everyone here. I love the theme song. I like the score to most of these movies. I like the casting choices they made for certain characters in these movies. And X-Men 1, X2, X-Men Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men movie. I think it's the best X-Men movie ever made. It is by far and away the best X-Men film ever made. Whether you're watching the theatrical cut or the road cut, it doesn't matter. You get a great film with a great story, great actors, great characters, all of it. So for me, X-Men, rewatchability, relatability, and just that universe and the way they put it on screen. For the most part, they've had bumps like a lot of franchises do. They have bumps along the way. I get that. But for me, I'm going with X-Men. So let's all hum this together. Come on. You can never go wrong with the excellence of X-Men. So that's why X-Men is my number one.
All right. So I believe we have it fixed now, which is lovely. Thank you.
Great. Thank you to the numbers people working backstage.
Yeah, they're the real heroes.
It hurts my heart, but whoever picked Middle Earth, keep. Go ahead. Say why. I cannot fault you, Doug. Go ahead. Stage is yours.
This is my favorite trilogy of all time. All time. It's literally a trilogy that I go
Wow.
back. I've watched the director's cut more times than I count. I continuously watch it once a year.
Jeez.
It's something that I just really enjoy and love. The story is one of putting yourself, lower than what needs to be accomplished, putting that goal above yourself, and showing you what, true evil looks like. And I think if you take anything, you can say what you want about The Hobbit. The only thing that's wrong with The Hobbit is that it is overfluffed a little bit, and I will give you credit. But you take a man who took a series that I enjoyed and brought it to the film when they weren't sure that they were going to do it. I think if it was in anybody's hands but Peter Jackson after Guillermo del Toro left, it would have been a lot worse, and maybe I would have put it lower. But I think the first movie is incredible. I think the second movie and the third movie, there's parts that you can actually really genuinely like and love about the fluff aside. I think that first movie is well paced and well done. I get the arguments for the other two, but I could watch those more than I can watch anything else on my list. And that's what it comes down to when you enjoy something so much. That literally brought me into the world of fantasy. I remember watching the first movie when I was 12 years old, and was like, I really like this. I went and read the books after that. I went and read more fantasy books. I went and explored different avenues. I got into D&D because of it. If you've never played D&D, it's a hell of a thing to play. It's a lot of fun. But you get into these things that when you take something away, for me, taking away a film franchise would also be taking away part of my life. I play D&D. I enjoy these things. If I never had that film series, I wouldn't have these things that I enjoy. So that's why it's my number one.
So anyone who's paying attention knows that only one person put Middle Earth and only one other person has it left as number two. Because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is a cinematic masterpiece.
Yes, it is. Please.
Everything from forget the story for a second. Everything for the craft of that movie. I have watched the behind-the-scenes documentaries on the extended edition so many times because just the story of how those films got made is absolutely fascinating. They are, and not just, and the thing is, it's critically as well because the Oscars in that franchise is unbelievable. Across it, I think it's 18 Oscars across the whole Middle Earth franchise.
The Battle of Helm's Deep is what the Battle of Winterfell thought it was going to be and should have been. It's absolutely amazing. I agree with you completely. I just have Wizarding World over it.
We are talking.
Chris agrees.
3-hour movies. 3 movies that are over 3 hours that you can put on any time. I would say now I enjoy films like Lawrence of Arabia, but I won't just go. I'm going to put on but Lord of the Rings it flies. The three movies Lord of the Rings fly by.
Even the extended editions. I've done that marathon many a times.
I haven't even seen these.
I haven't watched the theatrical cuts since the extended editions came out.
Jeez.
And side note, Billy Boyd has the voice of a beautiful, beautiful angel.
I agree with that part.
So going back to sing a song for the Hobbit movies.
Yeah. So now we know that Doug has Middle Earth, Ryan has X-Men, me and Chris have Wizarding World, even though the Middle Earth was very close, and Robert and Joe don't know what they're talking about, but they have Star Wars.
Do know what we're talking about, Rue.
Why is that?
Don't worry, Harry Potter, but next to me.
Yeah. Why is that divisive film franchise so important to you when there are so many more franchises that came after it that have topped them so much more?
Okay, I want to. I know how people feel about Empire Strikes Back, and for me, it is the best of the trilogy, the best made, the best story, everything like that. However, I'm going to put you in the shoes of a 6-year-old Joe Farron.
I want to go. Take me, Joe.
Having watched the VHS recorded tape of The Spy Who Loved Me for the 17th or whatever time.
Okay.
So the video kept playing, and it had been recorded from the telly. And I was just playing with toys, and I remember looking up at the screen and seeing this little blue text come up on the screen. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. And it was Return of the Jedi. And that was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. And I went back
at the end.
And I sought out the others. And it was 2 years later, they re-released the original trilogy in cinemas. And I went to see A New Hope. And then I saw Empire. And then I saw Return of the Jedi again. And then a 10-year-old gets to go see Phantom Menace. And then he gets to see Attack of the Clones. And even as a 13-year-old, he's like... And then he gets Revenge of the Sith. And then he has to wait 10 years. And then Force Awakens and Rogue One. That franchise means everything. It's just... and despite how I feel about Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, if Return of the Jedi is on, it's going on. Despite whatever else is on. If Empire is on, it's going on.
I respect
if
that.
It's going on. If Rogue One and Force Awakens are on, they're going on. If Revenge of the Sith is going on, it's going on. The last especially the last half an hour of Return of the Jedi is fantastic. The last half an hour of Rogue One is incredible. The last half an hour
movie is fantastic.
Just taking me in a time machine to the best parts of my life.
I think
we're going back in time to the theater with Joe.
And having seen Return of the Jedi first, then going back and watching the original trilogy, that final battle between Luke and Vader in the throne room is just incredible. It's the first time that John Williams uses a chorus in the score.
Ooh. That's a good point.
That when Luke shouts no and engages Vader, I just can't stop watching.
All these franchises have good parts, but Wizarding World is the only one. You got to move that closer because we cannot see that. And we are forgetting the horrible Clone Wars movie. So that backs up my point. Wizarding World has the most.
I saw the Clone Wars movie after the series, and it's a little better.
It's not terrible. It's not bad.
It's not terrible, but Wizarding World has the most best movies and the least crappy bad movies all together. I'm sorry. The Prisoner of Azkaban is on par with me as probably Fellowship. It's so close with Middle Earth for me because Return of the King and Two Towers are better, but the Hobbit trilogy it's only 3 movies, and it doesn't outweigh the 7, 8 amazing movies we get, and the 2 comparable, and especially not Star Wars, and especially not X-Men, like not even close. Math equation, as you said, Robert. And all in all, just the lack of diversity aside, which also Middle Earth also has lack of diversity. But I'm gonna let it go. Wizarding World, just everything that Harry Potter brings up in terms of being able to go from a kids movie to not a kids movie anymore in Prisoner of Azkaban, and just bringing that along, and just it doesn't. There's nothing in the first 8 that doesn't deliver. I still cry to Dumbledore every single time.
I don't know.
I will say this.
Like the emotion.
I will say this. I am a Chamber of Secrets defender.
How?
You can. Kenneth Branagh is amazing.
Kenneth
Branagh is playing a different role for a different movie.
He really
Oh,
is.
That is Gilderoy Lockhart. That is exactly who he is.
I think he takes it a little bit too far.
Rue, I think you've been drinking too much Wizarding World and Middle Earth Kool-Aid, man, because you are just...
Okay.
Butterbeer. We call that butterbeer. Right?
No, it's Kool-Aid, and you're drinking way too much of it, Rue. Way too much.
And Rick Mayall would have crushed it as peas. He would have been so good.
He would. Would have. Robert, you're the only one we haven't really heard of too much with Star Wars.
Yes.
Good pick, Joe.
Yeah,
he was cast. The scenes were cut out.
Oh, that hurts.
That seems like a waste. Rue, just to get back to one of your points, I think there's like 2 great Potter movies. Even though I had it as 2, I think there were 2 great ones and a couple other serviceable ones, and ones I can't stand and never want to see again. That's how I look at it.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying for Wizarding World, I have a little personal gripe because Robert Pattinson beat me to the role of Cedric Diggory. So I could be Batman right now.
You could be. Oh man.
Then again, I could have also jacked it at a lighthouse. So.
And Joe, Daniel Radcliffe and I have the same birth date. So if I was born in England, I could have been Harry Potter, but a billionaire. So I feel you're paid so much.
We got you. You would have been a great
Joe and Robert could have been millionaires or billionaires in this case.
Billionaires.
I would have cried over your body, sir. I would have cried over you.
Joe, anything happens to you, I would cry over you. I would take a similar kind of roundabout trip back in time. When I was, we'll say, 8 or 9 years old, they re-released, as Joe said, the original trilogy, made special editions. I remember my parents taking me to drive-in theaters and me wearing pajamas and getting a snuggle in a car and getting to watch, I believe it was Return of the Jedi at the time, and being mesmerized. And I feel like I can remember looking at my father and him kind of lighting up, or him feeling like he was engrossed in the movie, and thus sharing a connection with him, wanting to be engrossed in the movie as well. So that made me want to go back and watch and get all the special editions on VHS come when I'm 10 or 11. Phantom Menace comes out. It was panned, obviously. There are a lot of things that make you feel real bad about yourself. But Phantom Menace also has Duel of the Fates. And it also has Darth Maul, Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon, Ewan McGregor, and Ray Park Jr. just going that F at it. And just like seeing moves with lightsabers I had never seen before. I always thought it was little small turns and things like that. And that opened my eyes to a whole bunch of new things. Attack of the Clones, I remember being very excited when a CGI Yoda came out flipping all around and fighting Christopher Lee.
Yes.
Obviously, my excitement about that waned over time when I realized how much I dislike sand and how it's rough and coarse and
none of these other franchises have Billy D. Williams, so
it's true. Mr. Colt 45.
Colt 45.
I
mean, what can you say about that?
But your series doesn't have John Rhys Davies.
John Rhys Davies.
He was in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, if we could pick, I would pick Indiana Jones. So
just saying, Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
Indy's not on here, okay?
It's not. I got a lot more franchises I can do later.
A lot more franchise. And then just to wrap up what I was saying, sequel trilogies, I got to bring my wife in, something that I had felt I had gained a perspective and how much I enjoyed being my family and watching Star Wars. I got to bring my wife in. Star Wars movies are the only ones, besides some of the MCU movies, we've seen multiple times in theaters. And while there are things about them I dislike, I think The Last Jedi is fantastic, and I love swings that Rian Johnson likes to take. I don't give a crap what anybody likes to say. It was only by the time, and this is kind of a sad ending to my story, I guess, when I watched Rise of Skywalker with my father, he was like, I never was really that much into Star Wars. But what I learned from that is that my father loved me so much that he was willing to share something that I thought was the case, and maybe I remember it differently, a Mandela effect, but it ingrained and it was very indelible on my life. And I think Star Wars is, and some of these other movies have taken into account the battles between good and evil. I think Star Wars is the quintessential battle of good versus evil. And it teaches you a lot about, and you can make allegories to what's happened in history, and that's good. Yes, there's lack of diversity. Yes, its fandom has gotten toxic with the advent of Twitter and everything else that goes along with the internet. But when I think about Star Wars, it takes me back to being an 8 and 9-year-old kid and then having those feelings ramp up. And I can find things when I go back and when I really enjoy, I can find things that I can enjoy in those movies I thought stunk, or they're still entertaining to me that if they do stink, I can laugh about them. And that laughter speaks a lot to me, as well as the emotional feelings that I got. Like when Rey hands Luke the lightsaber at the end of Force Awakens, I tear up every time because it's like past Bobby, past Robert, and future Robert, present Robert, whatever you want to say, at that time come together and they shake hands.
And throw you over
I don't
the cliff.
think. And then throw it over a cliff, but
Which is one of the worst
that
things
was,
that ever happened in that second film. But
it still made me laugh. But that notwithstanding,
stupid.
It was one of those things where it put me in a time machine, and I felt like I got to enjoy something again, and I can keep revisiting, and I can keep enjoying it again and again.
Cool. So we're running a bit long, which is fine, but you just wrap yours up beautifully. So as usual, I'm gonna let everybody do that. Chris, I'm gonna go with you. Any final words on Wizarding World, these lists, anything, and we're gonna go around the horn with everybody else.
So, I've spoken enough about Wizarding World. It's my favorite because of the emotion it brings, because of the magic element. The thing with every scene alone, an Oscar-worthy nomination material. Like, the Outweigh, I remember crying, when they show the flashback to him holding Lily. The performances are great. Like, Ralph Fiennes is incredible Voldemort. Say what you will about some of the decisions they make to the end, but he's such a good villain. Like, the fight, the Gary Oldman at Sirius Black, one of the best casting in the Wizarding World. Like, but I imagine seeing in the theater all the last 3 Harry Potter movies seen at midnight, and the audience with the magic experience of just clapping with them, laughing. The you and Jenny do it I remember get the biggest laugh. We all just died laughing that theater. It's like, but everything. But Joey on Star Wars, like, I am a Star Wars person. I am the biggest defender of Last Jedi there is. Like, I love
Yikes.
I love Last Jedi. Like, yeah, it had problems, can't, but yet.
Lots of problems.
But the moment, like, when the suicide one thing with Holdo is, like, so beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like, the Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher scene alone, when Mark Hamill show up, despite an image of him, when they say, not to ever die, and he gave her Han thing, like, it's such a beautiful moment. And, like, I also a big defender Solo. I think Solo is
Solo's good.
Yeah.
I like Solo.
Ouch.
Yeah,
That's a big yikes, man.
Yeah,
What's your last name?
What's your last name?
What's your last name?
We watched that in the theaters. I went, ugh, and my wife was because you didn't like that, did you?
Nobody asked for.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I love the Castle Run. I think John Powell's score for the Castle Run, using like the asteroid field and that sort of using parts of the music from Empire in that bit when he's discovering the Falcon, it's great.
I mean, yeah, like, Empire is my favorite. It still is my favorite based on who we watched. We're not saying how I feel about Return of the Jedi. I had some mixed feeling about it. I do like it, but this special edition ruined some stuff for me. Like, and people just some stuff I like. I think Obi-Wan stuff in Attack of the Clones is the better part in the movie, and his scene with Count Dooku when he's being interrogated is a really good scene in Attack of the Clones, and one of the only times the dialogue is okay at best. And it's just like, and Star Wars, like, it was neck and neck between Wizarding World and Star Wars. That thing, yeah, the Clone Wars movie kind of made the kind of good involved look like higher play, because Clone movie is really, really bad on rewatch. Like, I was just so mad watching it, and Phantom Menace, the last we say about Watto and a bunch of other stuff, the better. Like,
hey, you like it.
All right, so I'm gonna finish up with my Wizarding World. I will make this quick. Snape is a trash character. They made him look like Michael Jackson in those flashbacks, so I really don't care about those. But everything else, I absolutely love the Wizarding World. Gary Oldman and David Thewlis, who does not get enough credit as Lupin. Two of the best characters to ever ever. And my dad will argue with me so much because he is a Lord of the Rings fanatic. I have been talking to him about the Trivia Leagues, and he literally wants to argue Lord of the Rings and only Lord of the Rings with people. That's how much he loves it. And he passed down
It's like Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, he passed down that love to me. And it's hard, but if I had to go with my gut, I have to go. I connected to Wizarding World and read the book so many times that it's by a very, very slight margin. Anybody has anything bad to say about Ryan, Middle Earth, you don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Wizarding World, to me, Harry Potter is it's the phenomenon. I will separate the creator from the creation. Always. Please do that.
Yeah.
Because it teaches so much just about life and tolerance and just everything that all of these other franchises also teach about. I only have one book series that I like more just because it has more blatant diversity and as fun. And I just hate the 2 Percy Jackson movies with a passion because it deserves so much more. The only franchise I like better than Harry Potter, but I love it. That's why I'm picking that. But now, Doug, go ahead. Any final thoughts for you, sir?
We're getting a Percy Jackson TV series. Just hold on. I'm agreeing with
I yelled in excitement like the Knicks won the championship when I heard that. I was so excited.
Yeah, let me get it.
Yeah, but remember, this is Disney who crapped on Artemis Fowl, and that was piece of trash.
That's a movie. That
was supposed to be
Disney's TV is fine.
It's just things. You forget about that. I just want to touch on X-Men because I didn't get to touch on X-Men. I think X-Men for me is ridiculously so good. Well done. You can say what you want. It has 3 bad movies. I will give you 3. I can argue for the sake of every other 8 or every other 9 movies that they have on their roster. I can't do math today. But I also gave me probably one of my favorite modern day directors in James Mangold. So if we get rid of those films, we get rid of him. He
did walk the line. He's okay.
He did walk the line. True, but he wouldn't have got
310 to Yuma
without.
Yeah, Ryan, 310 to Yuma.
One of the best westerns ever made.
A couple other really stinkers, but now he's kind of like.
No, he's done well.
He made some really good movies.
James Mangold is a darn good director.
I found him mainly due to I didn't know his name until these movies. I didn't know his name because I don't study directors like that. So there you go. There's a weakness for me. I don't study directors like that. Okay.
It's okay. It's all right, Doug. We still love it.
I literally, I really enjoy his movies, and I think as much flack as the 3 bad movies, as I said, there's still a lot of fun. There's 3. I will give you 3.
What are those 3 bad ones again?
The 3 bad are Origin, Last Stand, and Apocalypse. I can find very enjoyable things in Dark Phoenix. That train scene, fuck, if you don't think that train scene's well done, go somewhere. When she kills Mystique, it hits me in the field. I know that people hate Jennifer Lawrence, but you know what? It still hits me in the field. You kind of see Professor X go through it. And I think McAvoy is probably on par with Patrick Stewart and Michael Fassbender.
He's on another level.
I think
easily the best one of the last
level than Ian McCain,
which is so hard to do.
It's very hard to do, but there's a lot of people that hate on Apocalypse. The one thing that I find saving grace in that movie is that whole scene with his family. That's an actor on a whole nother level. So. Yeah, but this was fun.
Ryan, go ahead, and then Joe, you're gonna finish this out.
All right, so Doug, you have some more Mangold films to watch after this presentation. But great director, great stuff. This was fun. Thanks for having me. It was good times. We knew there were going to be hot takes. We knew there was going to be controversy. We knew the comment section was going to be lit or on fire, whatever the kids say these days. Look, as much as I love Star Wars, it's just the characters for X-Men to me are more relatable, but that's just me. That's me on a personal level. That's me on a different level. So that's just what I think. But other than that, this was fun. Good lists, good candidates. I look forward to seeing what happens next on this show, but who knows?
All right. And Joe, any final thoughts for you, sir?
Everyone's got opinions, but no, this was a lot of fun. It was a tough call, especially between my top 3. Could have gone either way. Every single one of these franchises has masterpieces, and has incredible movies and just fantastic performances, direction, everything, scores and soundtracks. I have at least one piece of music from every one of at least one movie in this franchise on my playlist at the moment. I love a lot of these movies.
Cool. And going over them, apparently I have a lot more franchises to go, which is great because I'm going to do more episodes of that.
Yeah, we just put more in there.
With that, with the list, I had Star Wars going out last, then X-Men, then Middle Earth and Wizarding World, which is very hard. Chris has X-Men first, then Middle Earth. Star Wars and Wizarding World. Fairly had X-Men last, then Wizarding World. Middle Earth. Wrong. Sorry, no. Star Wars. Doug had Wizarding World, Star Wars, X-Men, Middle Earth. Ryan, Wizarding World, Middle Earth, Star Wars and X-Men, and Robert rounds us out with X-Men, Middle Earth, Wizarding World, and Star Wars. And as we go down to look at some percentages. So for those who, the list that we got, the amount of people who picked these movies to stay, 30% of the list had Star Wars. Ryan, you were on your own with X-Men. Middle Earth, 20% of the people kept Middle Earth, and 40% of the people kept Wizarding World. And for First Gone, most people had X-Men last, 40%. And then right behind it, Wizarding World, 30% of people had Wizarding World last. Star Wars had 20%, which I guess only one person agreed with me. And Middle Earth might just have the best standing with only one person believing Middle Earth is the worst out of all of them. I don't know if that was Tony. Very well could have been if you put in the list. I don't remember. But with that, I do appreciate y'all coming through. This was mad fun. One of the longest episode I've had, which I don't care. Sorry, Tony. I know you and Bill are doing your thing. So I'll make this last thing before we get out of here quick. Gotta have my hint for next week's episode. And here it is. So when you think of Christmas movies, you think about getting this like dogs, getting away where people forget your name, seeing the tallest building in the world. But whatever you get, with those movies, it's got to grab you and never let you go. It's got to have your heart running nonstop and make you feel like you're riding a horse through Central Park. And that's it. Have at it what you will. Let's see if y'all understand before I post the videos on Thursday. For Doug, Robert, Joe, Chris, and Ryan, it's been Amadou, your boy Amadou. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.